everyone, thanks for joining. Today we're going to talk about three new FOs, 3 whips, 2 cast-ons, and 3 new podcasts that I've been watching. I hope you have a drink with you. This might take a little while. Welcome to Day to Day Knits, episode 40. My name is Sara Coelho-Robinson, and I am coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, USA. I am Portuguese, and so there might be, an accent there. And I'm living here with my husband and our dog, Effie. I have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to try to keep it under 40 minutes. We will see. I actually filmed on Friday, but I had a couple of things blocking, and I just decided to record everything now. So here we are. What I am wearing today is my own design. I think on episode 4, I basically gave you the pattern orally, or like a recipe for you to build your own pattern to get this beauty that I am calling Rola-Brava. And this is then with I think this is Magpie fibers. No, it's Malabrigo yarn Rios in Jupiter, and it's beautiful. It has lots of burgundies, a little brown, a little pink, very pretty. And then the sleeves are Camellia Fiber Company and the color Camellia. It is definitely my favorite brand for mohair and silk, but I have used a few of her other yarns and I have no complaints whatsoever with those yarns. But this was my first time using her yarn, so I just got one skein and I did both sleeves. One sleeve is slightly shorter than the other, just because I was running out of mohair. So I just had to bind off a little early, and I don't think it would make much sense to buy a whole other skein just to have a few, like 1 more inch or a couple more centimeters to match, and no one can really tell. This is the perfect sweater for a warm fall day, not a hot day, a warm day where you could feel a little breeze through your sleeves, but you still have a slightly warmer layer. And if you want to, all you have to do is put on a little jacket on top. So yes, that's it on this guy. And then I should have brought myself a hot tea, because I can already tell that I'm gonna have trouble with my voice tomorrow. I have 3 FOs. One of them is gonna be super fast. I think I talked about it last time. It's the yarn is not for sale anymore. And the yarn is Cloudborn fibers, Highland Superwash sock twist in Caribbean, which is this blue, and Beards and Mustaches, which has a lot of browns. I have not blocked this, so it's not the prettiest, but the yarn itself is very pretty. The only issue I had with it was that I use really, really, really thin needles. They are 1 millimeter diameter. They're number American 00000. And I have them, yeah, here they are. You can barely see them. They're very hard to find when I drop them. Okay, there they are. So the only issue I have, and it's partially because of my needles, partially because of the yarn, because I don't have this issue with every yarn that I knit. But you might be able to tell that there's a little halo. I don't know if you can tell. There's a little halo around the yarn. And sometimes my needles would get caught up on that halo and it would like pull the yarn apart a little bit. But that was my only complaint. These were supposed to be my on-the-go needles for whenever we're traveling to visit Joseph's parents, which is every weekend, practically. Like, I would say 3 out of 4 weekends we're driving out to see them. So this was going to be my car knitting. The problem is I get car sick in the car. So I have to choose between looking at what I'm doing and getting car sick, or not looking and splitting my yarn. So it took me a little longer to knit these than what I was initially expecting. Oh, and the pattern is the Dreamy Vanilla Socks. And it's my own pattern. They're then toe up, and they have a heel flap. Because that's what I find to be most comfortable. I've done other heels before, and the issue is that they slide off my heel. So I find that this is a very good pattern for them to stay put. Plus, if I run out of yarn, I wonder if I do have leftovers here. I only had 8 more grams of this guy, so I don't think that might be enough for anything other than maybe a square on my blanket. And then this one, I think I had 20 grams left. I could be wrong though, I can't recall. But this will be enough to do 1 more set of toes or ribbing. Yeah, but what I like about doing my socks toe up is that I'm always able to stop when I want to avoid running out of yarn. I do half a sock, like say I start with 30 grams. I do the whole, foot. And then if at that point I've only used 8 grams, say, I'm inventing, obviously that would not be right, then I would know that I could do a little bit more and I'd be able to match that on the other side. I wouldn't have to start the ribbing immediately in a different color, for example. So that's what I like about that. And I am going to keep these in this bag. No, I'm not. I'm gonna move this to this other bag. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Then this one can be set aside to be put away. Okay, so that's one faux. Another faux, the other 2 are just my own designs. One of them will be going out for testing soon, so let me talk about that one first. This is the Ava sweater. It is knit in the round. It has spreadsheets, so it should perfectly fit whoever chooses to knit it. The ribbing itself has it's twisted ribbing, and this is knitted with Camellia Fiber Company 100% Merino and Lichen, which is this beauty, and I used almost 3 skeins. This is what I have left from that 3rd skein. And you might be wondering, this doesn't look like that color you have there. Yes, and that's because my other yarn bled a lot. So I don't know if that's because of I just got a couple of skeins that were just not fully prepped, whatever dyers do to set their yarn. But it's really beautiful yarn. It's this gray that has lots of teal and green in it, and that's what bled and then dyed this part where I'm only supposed to be using the worsted yarn. it dyed it so it's no longer that shade of green, which is a shame, but I think it looks good anyway, so I'm not too upset about it. But I guess, I don't know, I've only had 2 Magpie fiber yarns and they both bled. They're different colors, different bases. I bought it at different times. So I don't know if it's just my bad luck, but there it is. So it's, yeah, it's feather, 30% silk, 70% mohair, I think. Yep. And the colorway is Smoke and Mirrors, while the Camellia Fabric Company, the colorway is Lichen. And so for the mohair, I used 2 skeins at the same time, and this is what I have left. The design is made to follow basically the shape of your body, but still be just a tad loose for comfort. And then it has this detail that also happens on the side of the sweater. I haven't closed these holes yet, but I need to get that done. And it's a circular yoke. I might wear it for dinner. I haven't decided, because at night it gets cold. But if you're out in the sun, it's warm. And we're going out for dinner, so we'll see. Okay. So this is one project. I don't know what else to say about it. It took me 2 weeks to knit. The body took 1 week, and I had markers marking every day, but then I stopped doing that for the sleeves. The sleeves themselves took me almost 1 week, and that's really because one of them, this one, I took it back twice because one time it was too loose, the other time was too tight. But now they're perfect. Yes, I'm very, very pleased with it. So this is my Ava Classic Sweater, going out for testing sometime soon. I just need to take another look at the pattern and make sure everything makes sense. And once I'm done with that, then I'll put out a form that will be put out through my Instagram account, Day to Day Sara. And there, if you want to, you can apply for it. I'll be looking for all sorts of bust sizes. There will be no specific sizes because I use the spreadsheet method where you insert your own dimensions and it spits out all the stitches you need to knit and all the rows and everything. So that's that for that one. Now I have another cardigan that I actually wore last night for a birthday party from my yarny friend Ashley. And this one is the Maresia cardigan. I actually finished knitting that one before I knitted this one, but the pattern is more complex and I'm just not ready to have it tested yet. It's all written down, but I don't know, it makes me kind of nervous. So this line here is the line that goes over the top of your shoulders to your arms. I'm gonna have to take it off when I'm done talking about it. And then it just wraps around. And then at some point I'd like to get some buttons on the sides to keep this in place if I don't want to wear a belt. But I also knitted this handy dandy belt. What I do is I divide the yarn in half, so this is about it. I put that in front, I cross at my back, bring it back to the front, then I bring it under, and then I tie it. It's all around color work. And then this one goes around the back of your neck, but it doesn't touch the front of your neck if you're sensitive or sensible. No, sensitive to that. Then the pattern changes at the front where you do increases for it to cross over. And it has very big pockets. You can see my hand fully disappears. One on each side. There's the other one. And they're big enough to keep my phone in, which I would show you if I wasn't using it to film this episode. It is super cozy. The yarn is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, which is just 100% wool. It's perfect for color work. I made some mistakes like that guy or this. I was in a knit night and I was just not paying attention to what I was doing. Yes, so this jacket with the pockets, it involves 3 rounds of steeking. One is on the front, because all of this color work is knitted around. There is not one single color work part that's knitted flat, and that was really very important to me. I don't think I've ever done color work flat. That sounds like more complicated than what it needs to be. So all the color work is in flat. So for that, I had to steek on each sleeve, down the front, and where I have the pockets, which are totally optional. Don't have to do it. If you do decide to do them, you can do them as big, as deep as you want. And then everything else, other than this portion of blue, everything else that's just blue is knitted flat. Like this one, you just go back and forth, you do some short rows, and then just more back and forth. The pockets are also knitted flat, and then they're sewed down. Yeah, and this, oh, and the belt is knitted flat, obviously. And then this is just knitted around the ceiling part. It uses the belt, so I did not do any decreases on the body. Basically on the body, all you have is increases. You start at the top, you decrease and do a bind off under the arm, and then it's just, you keep increasing for the body, but it's in this super easy part. That's knit one, and it makes for really pretty inside. So if someone sees that, it's not bad, as long as you don't have, I guess, this. Yeah. And that one took me about a month because it is worsted, even though it is color work everywhere, and it's a little longer than the knits I usually do. I usually do cropped like this guy. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what else to say about that one. If you have any questions, please ask. At the end of the video, I will, I think, show the process of steeking. Not with words explaining it, I'll just put sound like music over it, but you'll see me do that. To reinforce the steeks, I use 2 different methods. I used my handy dandy sewing machine for the ones that I was able to do that, which were the pockets and the center sticking part. For the sleeves, it was just too much bulkiness for the sewing machine, so for that I just use a crochet hook. Then I put down this pretty ribbon and I folded the sticked part in, and now if you happen to see something, it's just this pretty ribbon. The only regret I have in knitting this jacket is, well, first, maybe doing it longer would also be a very good look. But the biggest regret is just, really the only regret, was choosing this ribbon, because even though it's beautiful, it has issues, which is the fact that the edges are just too coarse or something. I don't know. And if I'm not wearing a long sleeve sweater under it and I'm doing some sort of repetitive motion with my arms, then it just rubs and it's just annoying. Like if I'm knitting, for example, because if I'm moving my wrists like that, if I'm just watching TV, it doesn't really matter. If I'm going on a walk, it doesn't matter. But something like knitting would annoy me with that specific ribbon. Other ribbons are fine. I have other ribbons that would have worked just fine. I just picked that one not thinking about that. So that's something to keep in mind. Yes, one cast-on, bind-offs, 2, 3 bind-offs. So whips. I have one that is not yarn related, but I'll bring it up just real quick. I'm just trying something new. It's not gonna work, but it exists. It's there. So that is here. It's my first attempt at cross stitching. This is part of a pattern called Coastal 4, I think. Coastal 4 by Anette Eriksson. So it's 4 different pieces. I'm not gonna do one of them because it's just words. But the others are 3 sardines, and I've started it here, but it's one on top of the other. And all 3 sardines have a different scale design. This one is the hardest one, the one that's in the middle. And that's the one I started with. And I sort of kind of regret it. But at the same time, when I'm done with that, the other ones are going to be so easy. And then the other ones are, one just has a single seagull. And then the other one, I think, has 3 sea stars. And so this is a 14 count fabric. I don't know a lot about this sort of thing, but it's kind of off-white. And the blues are 4 different, very pretty blues. And the reason why I said this is not gonna work out for me as a hobby is when I'm looking at it, I'm okay, but when I stop looking at it, it all kind of gets hazy or something. It's like I'm just forcing my eyesight, and it's not good. It's really noticeable when I stop looking at it and I look at something else, which is a shame. I mean, I think I'm just gonna do at least this piece and be done with it then. Maybe I'll do the other 2. I don't know. I'm not gonna binge it though, clearly. I started this sometime in August, I think, or maybe it was early September. And then I made a massive mistake and I took that out. I made another massive mistake, I took that out and I fixed it. Then I did one massive mistake again. And I was like, all right, I need a break from this. Just let's go back to knitting. So right now it's on pause. And it might be on pause for a little bit because I have a lot on my needles, guys. And I'm keeping it on my Flying Tiger store Seaman bag. You know, there's this whole sea vibe thing. Wait. I can't remember what I call my Maresia cardi. I hope I called it my Maresia cardi. But I have a new pattern out. That's called the Portuguese Sidewalks, and they are here. And I was sort of thinking about these socks as I was talking about that cardigan. So I hope I didn't say Portuguese Sidewalks when I was talking about that. The cardigan is called Maresia cardigan. Maresia is a word that means sea air, like sea breeze. And these are my Portuguese sidewalks that the picture down the front is an actual picture, or is an actual pattern of Portuguese sidewalks in my hometown by the sea, or by the beach. The sea is really a few meters away. And it's basically a sea star, shellfish, sea star, another shell. And then there's a chords. And then it just turns into the 1x1 pattern. It's the build itself of the sock is easy. The pattern, because it's not a pattern that repeats several times in one row, you just have to pay a little attention. Yes, and these, I've worn these, they're really warm, really comfortable. I'm really happy with them. And the yarn, I use the Portuguese yarn, Mondim, which is a European sock yarn, meaning it doesn't have nylon, it is not superwash. It's perfect for color work. And it's 100% wool. And it's from Rola-Brava Classic Sweater. So I'm gonna put the link of this pattern on the bottom of the video, just as I put the links for every other patterns that I knit. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Then I have 2 more cast-ons. So, not cast-ons, whips. The reason I'm saving this skein in a different bag, it's my Yarn Boss bag, which has all these things on top, but I don't use them. But it is where I put my handy dandy blankets. Where I have yarn squares by picking up a knit. It's not squares that are sewn together, they're not. Pick up a knit, and I add my yarn that way. So since last time we talked, I think I added this one, which is Camellia Fiber Company Lichen, but it's, I think, linen flax, which is linen and some sort of woolly matter, and I think another veggie matter, like, I don't know, maybe cotton, maybe it's silk and wool, or alpaca, I can't recall, but it's super soft. Then I have this one that I used for the Baby Novus cardigan. This one I used for a pair of socks, and it changes colors. This one is for my gingerbread, and I used the mohairs together with the Knit Picks palette. This one is from the yarn from one of my classes on how to do dishcloths. And this one is from my Maresia cardigan. I had a little blue left, and I had a little white left. So I ran out of the blue. And for that cardigan, I used 9 blue skeins. Each skein is 50 grams. And 4 white skeins, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was 5 white skeins. I have it written down, I just can't remember right now. Yes, so I will now save this little guy to add to this blanket. I don't need to add the other blue that I use for the ribbing, because I already have a square of it here, because I've used it in a different project. Then I have one more. Well, really right now it's 2 whips, but I'll call the other one a cast on, because I just cast on today. So the other whip, I haven't done any more progress on it, except that I added 1 color to it and I knitted 1 row. But I'll show you again, because I didn't talk about it last time. Now where is it? Is it here? Yes, it is. Okay. So inside my alpaca bag, I have my, I want to call it Xiao Mai, but it might be something slightly different. It is a pattern from Neons and Neutrals by Lavine. And it is Xiao. Okay. And it's a cardigan that has these like super pretty neon braids. And the rest is a neutral. They went with a beigey white and a light brown. And I'm going with slightly pinkish shades. And I'm doing this back part here. And I'm just about to start the color work. I was gonna do that yesterday when I realized I would like to have one more skein of neons. My neutrals are this blush, Simply Merino Linen by Fig and Posse Fiber Co. And La Bien-Aimée together with La Bien-Aimée Merino Sport in Bisque. Very pretty. And all of these yarns are Superwash. I bought them at Black Mountain. I don't really like knitting with Superwash, but the colors were just so pretty. And really the only way of getting neons, like real neons, is usually to have some sort of plastic type thing on your yarn, whether it be Superwash or acrylic. It's the only thing that will really gather the ink, I guess, or dye. So I am ready. On my next row, I'm gonna be starting to add those braids in. And I started with these 3 colors that are really, really pretty together. But when I put them all together, looking at the pictures, it didn't look like it had the right bulkiness. In the book, they suggest 8 strands of lace weight. I went with fingering weights, so it would be slightly cheaper because instead of buying 1 skein, instead of buying 2 skeins of each color, I'm buying 1 skein. And really, with these 3, I'm supposed to have the right weight, I think. But looking at the pictures, it looked like I needed to add something else. So I went to my leftover yarns and I grabbed this orange, which is not a really bright orange. But it's one of the brightest yarns that I have because I don't have a lot of fun, crazy colors. I have usually more toned down, earthy, or duller, old-like colors. So yes, now that I've added this, I am ready to start the braids. So hopefully next time you see this cardigan, I'll have worked on some braids. So that's that for that cardigan. There's not a lot I can say other than the yarn knits up beautifully. I've had no issues with that. When I blocked, I didn't have issues with the dyeing. I haven't tried the neons though, so we'll see. Yeah, and in the meantime, I've worked on a couple of swatches and I've casted on a different project. So first I'm going to talk about one that I swatched, but I don't have the right swatch yet. I got a lot of yarns to make the, what is it called? To look it up. Boho Style Mosaic Cardigan by Irene Lynn. And it's all of these, which is Pugulhau, which will be my main color. I will be using a double because this is fingering and I need worsted. Then my contrast colors will be this Rosário for Douro in color number 1. This Mondim and La Bien-Aimée. It's called Lannister. And this Pugulhau, that is the color number 3, while the other one is color number 4. And I really like the yarn. The Pugilal yarn is my first time trying it. Unfortunately, my swatch is off by 5 stitches, so going down 1 needle size won't be enough, but it will be the smallest of my circular needles. So I'm thinking that I will just use those and tighten up the yarn, but I will re-swatch just to make sure that it gets closer. I don't know if you can see. It's really pretty and it smells like sheep. It's so nice. It's made by a Portuguese sheep from the Portuguese Highlands. That's what I'm gonna call it. From an area called Serra da Estrela that has amazing cheese. And it's basically the only place in Portugal where we do get snow, but we don't get a lot. But it's where we have the one ski resort area. So yes, I have to work on another swatch for that one, but I'm looking forward to starting on that guy. And then one more sweater, I'm doing the ranunculus. I am finally on the bandwagon. And I asked your opinions on Instagram and you guys were really partial to these two put together. And they are, what are they? This one is Wild Lilac. Yep. And Celine. And the color is Snow Melt. And it's white with pink and a little yellow. It's very, very pretty. Extremely soft. It is baby Surrey alpaca. It's amazing. And mulberry silk. I only have 300-ish yards of it, which is not enough. So I'm gonna do it every other row. And for the rest of it, I was going to use this Yarnable Plush Stock Apple Crisp. Apple Crisp is the color. I got this a few years ago. It's mostly pink, different shades of pink. Has a little green, a little yellow, but it's mostly pink. Salmony. But that's only 400 yards, which is not enough for the long sleeve version, which is what I want. Especially if I'm gonna have it with, you know, baby alpaca, which is something I can wear close to the skin, but will also keep me warmer. So I want to do the long sleeve version. So what I decided today was, I think this is Sweet and Sour, also from Yarnable. I'm gonna stripe, I think, these two together. This one is mostly pink. This one has a little pink, but it also crosses over with orange, which will probably tie well into the yellow portions of this one. And I've used this one in another one of my patterns, which is my autumnal socks, which are a shorty sock but with a folded cuff that has a colorwork pattern in the shape of a flame on the top and on the bottom. I use this one mixed with another brown yarn. Yes, so that's the plan for these. I swatched this one together with the Surrey alpaca one. And I've cast it on with it by itself. Looks like this. It's very pretty. Then the short rows, I think I'm gonna switch to this guy, and then I'll start using the baby alpaca for the striping. Yep, I think I'm gonna be pretty happy with this guy. We'll see. I wonder if that's it for projects. Yeah, that is it. All right. Now I can tell you just a little bit. This will take like 5 minutes. About 3 podcasts that are new to me. They might not be new to you though. One is called Danish Musings, and it's this, I think her name is Hella, and she's a Danish lady with the whitest house I've ever seen, except on the outside. On the outside, it's like one of those typical Danish homes spread on the outside with white windows and trim and such. Excuse me. Man, all this talking. I need a tea. And she doesn't knit things that I would probably knit for myself. They tend to be boxier. I don't have a lot of boxy knits. I do like them. I'm just not used to wearing boxy stuff. I like to give a little emphasis to my shape, and I feel like when I put the boxy sweater on, I'm like floating or something. They're really cozy, but they're usually just not what I go for. But they're classic, they're beautiful. She knits them in very like timeless colors, whites, light grays, light blues, beautiful, beautiful patterns. And she used to knit, and then she took several years break, and now she's back at it. And that's Danish Musings. Then there's Krebia. I've only watched a few of her episodes. I started following her on Instagram. I signed up a few weeks ago for a test knit of hers called the Elder Sweater, which is out this week. Well, when you watch this, it will be at least last week. And she's like super, super talented. I think she's only been designing for a year, although I could be wrong. And she has like 17 patterns out. She's designing for magazines. She's really talented. And I didn't know this, but she has a YouTube podcast, and I just recently started watching it. So far I'm liking it. And that's Rebecca. And then there's Casey from Young Folk Knits. Oh, I forgot to say, Rebecca is in Edinburgh, Scotland. Casey, however, is in the United States, in the middle of the country, basically almost as middle as one could be. And she's on a farm, so she will sometimes have non-yarny things, more farmy things, or relating to sewing, which she also does, and other crafts. But it's, from what I've seen, it's mostly knits. And I think her videos are weekly. And she's like super, super talented and super, super speedy knitter too. Yeah, and I've enjoyed her videos too. I've just gotten to know these podcasts over the last 2 or 3 months, maybe 2 months. And I've really enjoyed them. So I hope you do too. If you know of others that you think maybe have the same vibe, put them down below. I'll take a look at them, and maybe other knitters that watch this will too. Yeah. So, all right, that's it. I barely went over my 40 minutes, so that's a good job right there. Okay, well, stay for a minute more and you'll see my sticking adventures. All right, bye. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I also always read your comments. I think I always reply to them. If I missed yours, then it's because I watched it and I got distracted and I did not remember to go back to reply.